Welcome back to the channel. Today we will travel through the pages of What If Issei Awakened the Boosted Gear Early Part 9. The link to the story will be in the description below, and if you want an update of the current series, join the Discord. Now let's start. Chapter 34. I've missed you. Shirin. The meeting between the Grimoires and the rulers of the underworld went on longer than it was expected. By time that Surziches had said the last word and was in preparation to dismiss the gathering, night had shrouded upon the sky. Well then, Riaz, you may now return to the castle and be prepared for battle. But be on your guard. The enemy could strike at any time. Surziches said to his little sister, who nodded to show she understood. All of a sudden, shards of glass hit the carpet that everyone was currently standing on. A huge gaping hole was left through the now human-shaped gap in the window. All eyes gazed in the location the disturbance came from and immediately shifted their status of standby to high alert. Kaneko-chan. Issei shouted as soon as he noticed she was now in danger. Yo securite. Hero princess. A voice said as they emerged from the shadows. Biku, what are you doing here? And what are you doing to a member of my household? Riaz said, beginning to revert to her title as the ruined princess. Put Kaneko down this instant. Kiba ordered as he drew his sword. Sorry guys, no can do. You see, I'd love to stay and chat, but I'm afraid Kuroka here is dying to see her little sister. Biku said as he now gestured to the struggling rook within his grasp. Put her down right now. Riaz ordered as her eyes shifted to their color of rage and unease. Whoa, scary. Scary. Well then, I'll see you around. Biku said, now holding a circular item in his hand. Don't move, Biku. Riaz said as he threw the item down hard to the ground. All of a sudden, an enormous wall of smoke erupted from the small capsule and clouded the whole room with its white smoke. As the Grimoire members coughed due to the newly introduced inhaled gas, Biku made his getaway with his cloudy easily soared through the skies with. The Red Dragon Emperor was unaffected by this surprise strike and as a result was able to focus on the direction that Kaneko was taking in. Riaz, we have no time to lose. Grab a hold of me and we will take off after them. Kiba, I'll leave this gas to you and your sword birth. I'm counting on you to clear this and join us. Issei said as he placed his arms around Riaz. Leave it to me, Issei-kun. Kiba said as he summoned his black hole attribute sword. Let's go, Riaz. Issei said as he took flight with his master cradled within his arms. Meanwhile, Kaneko and Biku had arrived at the drop-off point. And Kaneko was about to face the demons hidden within her past. Put me down, you pervert. Kaneko said after she successfully drove her fist into his nose mid-flight. Pervert. That's a bit harsh, don't you think? Biku replied as he placed her petite feet back on the ground. That's the thanks I get for reuniting you with your only family. Biku said with a grin as the branches behind began to rustle and blow in the wind. It was after Biku said that the temperature in her body took a sudden drop as that person's figure emerged from the shadows of the night. Out from the trees came a young woman with a voluptuous figure, long black hair with split bangs, and hazel gold eyes. Kaneko began to shiver as soon as she saw that nostalgic black kimono and the golden beads that rattled as the wind struck them. It was Kuroka, her older sister. It was only by her older sister's existence and knowledge alone that Kaneko was reminded of her first given name as she called out to her. Shirin. It's been so long. Kuroka said as she immediately closed the distance between them and wrapped her arms around Kaneko in a loving embrace. Big sister Kuroka. Were all the words Kaneko could at this moment in time say. It's so good to see you again, my cute little kitten. Have you been eating alright? Have you made any friends? Kuroka inquired, showing no signs of hostility or malice as she kindly spoke to her sibling. Sister, why are you here? Kaneko said as she was prepared to hear the worst. Why am I here? Isn't it obvious? I've come to pick you up, Shirin. Kuroka said, making Kaneko very still. What do you mean pick me up? Kaneko replied, not expecting good news for what was to follow her question. I mean that I have finally secured a home for the two of us. So you no longer have to hide your true self anymore. Kuroka said, making Kaneko want to run, but her feet felt as if they cemented to the ground. Come to think of it, where are your cute little white ears, Shirin? Kuroka said, making Kaneko a bit scared in reflection of her hidden power. I don't want to use that power, big sis. Kaneko said, hoping that the topic would end with that. That doesn't matter, Shirin, your big sister will train you how to use your senjutsu and your yujutsu. You'll be a Nekomata again before you even know it. Kuroka said, grabbing her sister's hand. Kaneko remained on the spot when Kuroka tried to lead her away. Shirin. I don't want to go with you, big sister. I want to stay with President Riaz, Issei-senpai and my friends. Kaneko said, feeling a sudden build of courage inside her. What are you saying, Shirin? You don't want to come with me? I'll protect you. Kuroka said, full of confidence. I want to stay. Kaneko said again, hoping her sister would receive the message. Shirin, do you want me to kill your master and your friends like I did our master? Kuroka said, making Kaneko suddenly frightened. Because big sister will do it if you don't come with her right now, Shirin. After all, I'm the only one who can protect Shirin and keep her safe. Hiroka said, making Kaneko suddenly take a step forward. I understand, big sis. Please don't hurt them. Kaneko said as she at that moment decided to comply with her sister's wishes. Good girl. Let's go home, Shirin. Kuroka said, suddenly feeling a tight grip on her shoulder. What is the meaning of this? Kuroka barked at the person putting pressure on her person. That's my question, Bishop of Volley's team. Kuroka. A crimson-haired lady said as her servant kept a tight grip on the black cat's shoulder. I'm taking my sister home with me. Please don't interfere, this has nothing to do with you, Ria's Gremory. Kuroka replied, forcing Ria's servant to grip tighter. Don't fuck with me. I would rather die than let you take away Kaneko-chan when she has such a sad look on her face. Issei roared as he pushed Kuroka away from the now startled and awake Kaneko. Oh, looks like I was followed. As expected of the legendary Securite and the Crimson Princess. Biku said with a grin as he sat idly on his cloud. I see, so you plan on preventing me from taking home my only family. Kuroka said with a hint of anger and irritation in her tone. That's my line, cat thief. Kaneko Taoju is a member of the Gremory household. She is my servant and I won't allow you or her to make her go away so easily. You have no right to take her back after you almost sentenced her to death with your crime of killing your master. Ria shot back her arms, now capturing Kaneko in a warm hug. I am the only one who can protect Shirin. She is lying to herself while she stays with you people. Kuroka snapped back, showing hostility within her aura now. I took Kaneko in when she was alone. I gave her a name and welcomed her into my family. She is a precious family member to me. And I won't let anyone take her away from stability and happiness. Ria shot back, feeling her own destructive power surface. Ria's is right, we won't let you take Kaneko-chan away. She is an important person to me as well. And I will be damned if I will let her be taken away so easily. Issei roared as his boosted gear began to power up. President Rias. Issei senpai. Kaneko uttered with tears of joy. I see, then you have left me no choice. If you will not let me take Shirin peacefully, then I will take her by force. Kuroka said as a huge amethyst circle appeared and left with its passing a purple gas in the atmosphere. Suddenly, both Rias and the frightened Nekomata collapsed to the ground. My body, it won't move. Ria said as she struggled to stand up. It's no use, with this poison mist, you will not be able to lift a finger as it restricts your muscles. Kuroka said, suddenly deploying a circle as an armored fist suddenly smashed through it. Don't drop your guard so quickly, I'm still able to fight. Issei shouted as he prepared to attack. It seems my powers have no effect on the Securite. No matter, I will take you down personally and prove to Shirin that the only one she can rely on to protect her is her sister. Kuroka said as she summoned several balls of fire. Bring it on. I will show you firsthand the power of the Gremory household. Issei said as he once again boosted his power. Interesting. Then let's see that power you are boasting so much about. Kuroka said as she summoned several blue flames around her. The black cat Kuroka fired the fireballs she summoned simultaneously, which exploded as soon as they made impact with Issei. Such a bore. What? Kuroka said when Issei emerged from the smoke completely unharmed. Is that all you have got? Dragon shot. Issei said, firing his red blast at the startled Nekomata. Kuroka leaped to the nearest tree branch to avoid Issei's attack. Firing more magical attacks at Issei afterwards. Issei raced towards the Senjutsu user and easily extinguished each fire attack that tried to touch his skin. Issei suddenly closed in on Kuroka, stopping his fist inches away from her face. Don't make my cute cowhide cry ever again. Issei said, causing Kuroka to retreat backwards. As expected of the Securite. But how about this? Kuroka said as she sprouted her black twin tail. So you're finally taking this fight seriously? Very well, then I won't disappoint you. Issei yelled as he charged Kuroka. Suddenly, Kuroka used a trait of her Yujutsu power and created several copies of herself. You think this illusion will stop me? I won't need to find out who is the real you. I'll take you all down at once. Issei concentrated his magical power and began to create a dragon shot in both of his hands. Take this. Crimson Dragon Cannon. Issei roared as a huge explosion of crimson light lit up the blackness in the sky. When the light vanished, Kuroka was nowhere in sight. Did she retreat? Ria said as she observed her surroundings. You're wrong. Issei senpai, look out. Kaneko yelled after she opened her eyes. Taoki. Kuroka, using the power of her Senjutsu, strengthened her physical power and smashed her fist through Issei's armored abdomen and pierced through his flesh. A huge hole appeared on Issei's skin when Kuroka extracted her hand from the wound's entrance. Issei's body suddenly felt lifeless as he began to plummet to the ground after Kuroka retracted her hand. Crap, I let my guard down. Issei said as he fell to the ground. Issei. Issei senpai. The two girls rushed over to Issei, whose armor had now been deactivated, and a pool of blood leaked onto the floor where his body fell. Issei with all his strength sat himself up and now stared at his opponent who playfully licked the back of her hand. "What did you just do to me? I can't summon any magical power and I feel so weak," Issei said as he struggled to remain conscious. "It's simple really, I was reading your inner Kai whilst we fought and once I managed to understand its flow, I was able to manipulate its flow and reverse it," Kuroka said as Issei began to fall unconscious. "Damn it, I was careless," Issei said as he suddenly fell unconscious. "Issei. Hang in there, Issei," Ria said as she cradled his body in her arms. "Now it's time to finish the job. This is your punishment for getting in my way, Security," Kuroka said as she prepared to deliver the final blow. Just as Kuroka was about to strike, she found herself being pushed back by a tremendous force. When Kuroka regained her balance, she finally discovered the strength that blew her away. Kaneko's fist still extended out as the Grimoires Rook panted. "So you intend to fight me, Shirin? Do you really think you stand a chance against me without using your Nekomata power?" Kuroka said, making Kaneko nervous. "I'm not done yet, I won't let you take Kaneko-chan away. Even if you are her sister," Issei yelled as he unconsciously walked towards the black cat with blood still exiting the wound. "You can still move. Very well then, I will finish you," Kuroka said as she charged the life-threatened dragon wielder. Kaneko did the unexpected which stopped both Issei and Kuroka in their tracks. Issei felt a huge pain in his stomach when Kaneko delivered a powerful punch to the already wounded Red Dragon Emperor. "Kaneko-chan," were Issei's last words before he collapsed in Kaneko's arms. "President, please take care of Issei-senpai, I will fight Kuroka," Kaneko said as she positioned her hands for combat. "Kaneko, you don't mean you're going to?" Ria said, being cut off by Kaneko. "Don't worry, I am not afraid anymore, President. After you and Issei-senpai worked so hard to protect me, I no longer see any reason to reject this power. I will accept it and protect you both," Kaneko stated as she now stared down her sister. "What's that? You plan on fighting me head-to-head, Shirin?" Kuroka asked playfully. "I know how strong you are, big sister, and yes, I don't want to use this power that I fear so much. But, after Issei-senpai and President Rias have risked their lives so many times to protect me, I have decided that this time I will protect them. I will use this power and this time, I will master it and use it to protect Issei-senpai and my friends," Kaneko said as a white tail and cat ears appeared upon her body. "I love that look in your eyes, Shirin, you have really grown. But it's true, if you master your Senjutsu power you may be able to save the Security's life. That wound isn't too severe, but if you don't fix his Kai within 24 hours, his life will be over." "No way, Issei will die," Ria said, now cradling Issei in her arms. "But first you have to defeat me. Otherwise I'm taking you back with me. Show me your bonds you care so much about, Shirin," Kuroka said as she summoned a purple magic circle behind herself as she prepared for battle. Chapter 35 Cat Fight. The Nekomata siblings. "What's that? You plan on fighting me head-to-head, Shirin?" Kuroka asked playfully. "I know how strong you are, big sister, and yes, I don't want to use this power that I fear so much. But, after Issei-senpai and President Rias have risked their lives so many times to protect me, I have decided that this time I will protect them. I will use this power and this time, I will master it and use it to protect Issei-senpai and my friends," Kaneko said as a white tail and cat ears appeared upon her body. "I love that look in your eyes, Shirin, you have really grown. But it's true, if you master your Senjutsu power you may be able to save the Security's life. That wound isn't too severe, but if you don't fix his Kai within 24 hours, his life will be over." "No way, Issei will die," Ria said, now cradling Issei in her arms. "But first you have to defeat me. Otherwise I'm taking you back with me. Show me your bonds you care so much about, Shirin." "Here I come," Kuroka yelled as she launched all of her blue flames that she had channeled. Kaneko, having just activated her Nekomata powers, realized that she didn't have the luxurious time to establish how to counter Kuroka's Senjutsu. As a result, the brawler placed up her guard and used her evil piece's perks to reduce the damage. However, Kaneko realized her mistake when the attack that seemed to be aimed towards her exploded in front of her, showing clear signs of a feint attack. "Damn it, a feint," Kaneko said as she was sent flying by Kuroka's sneak attack to her back. Kaneko adjusted her position mid-flight and slammed her feet into the dirt, correcting her balance. "Good job, Shirin. But, will you be able to block the next attack from an opponent too fast for you to see?" Kuroka boasted as she showed off her increase in speed. Jumping from the branches that surrounded her, Kaneko started to panic. Only seeing the leaves fall to the ground with no sign of the person who dismantled them. Suddenly, Kaneko remembered something that Issei said to her when she was training with Kiba one day. Kaneko was battling against Kiba in the training studio at the Haidu residence. And Kaneko seemed to have the upper hand. That is until Kiba got serious and began to disappear from her sight. Kaneko, just like in the situation she is currently in, darted her eyes back and forth across the room in an attempt to locate her attacker. However, Kaneko wasn't calm, and with every area she searched, her focus began to falter, and her nerves began to shake. It was then that Issei called out to her. "Calm down, Kaneko-chan. When the enemy is moving faster than your eyes can follow, it is then you have to focus all of that wasted energy within your other senses. If you can't see him, listen for his footsteps. If you can't hear him, sense his demonic energy. And if you can't sense his cloaked presence, wait for the moment your opponent strikes, and then counter." Kaneko was brought back to reality and as a consequence, was finally able to calm herself down. A smile now imprinted on her face. Even though Issei wasn't there to cheer her on right now, he is still helping her win this fight. Kaneko closed her eyes and suddenly became still like a rock in the middle of a rushing river. She discarded all pointless worries and relaxed her mind. The wind howled through the branches of the towering trees, and Kaneko remained still. Only her whimsical cat ears twitching slightly as they captured the sound of the branches shivering, whilst the black cat leaped from tree to tree. Suddenly, Kaneko's hazel eyes shot wide open, and her fist rocketed in the direction behind her. Unfortunately, to Kaneko's irritation, she punched nothing but air and received another thunderous strike to her back. "Very good, Shirin. But you're too slow," Kuroka said as she leaped down from the branches and propelled Kaneko into several trees behind her. Kaneko gripped her hands near her neck, trying to pry the terrifying claw that had wrapped around it. "It's so cute seeing you struggle, Shirin. But don't do that. Didn't I tell you? Only big sister can protect you. So stop resisting and give up," Kuroka said, hoping this would crush Kaneko's fighting spirit. "I refuse," Kaneko said, making Kuroka gasp. "What did you say, my cute little kitten?" the black cat lady said as she tightened her grip around her throat. "I said I refuse. I want to stay with everyone. I want to eat more snacks with Gatsby, practice with Zenovia-senpai and Kiba-senpai. I want to play more games with Asia-senpai. I want to continue to serve Akeno and Ri as the vice president and president of the Occult Research Club. And I also want to have more happy memories with Issei-senpai," Kaneko said, now driving her foot into Kuroka's abdomen. The Cow's Brigade mage was sent back quite a distance thanks to the Gremory Rook's monster strength. "I see, big sister gets it now, Shirin, you're in love with the Securite, aren't you?" Kuroka said, making Kaneko gasp. "I knew it. Well, I can't blame you, I mean his blood alone verifies his strength and potential as a future mate," Kuroka said as she licked the back of her hand which was still covered with leftovers of Issei's blood. "I won't let you hurt Issei-senpai, big sister," Kaneko said, immediately bringing up her fists. "Hurt him? Of course not. I just said it, didn't I? He has a lot of potential as a mate. After all, I always planned to have the blood of a dragon be infused into my future children," Kuroka said, making Kaneko shiver. "What are you planning to do?" Kaneko said as she fearfully awaited her sister's reply. "Isn't it obvious, Shirin? I'm going to steal the Securite from you. And then you'll definitely have to come back to me," Kuroka said as she licked her scarlet lips. Suddenly, Kuroka disappeared again and rushed towards the dripping mess of the Red Dragon Emperor. "No." Kaneko screamed as she anticipated this movement and blocked the cunning cat's path. "Oh, you still think you can beat me, Shirin?" Kuroka said as she stared at the silver-haired devil who showed no sign of budging. "Big sister. I won't let you take Issei-senpai away from all of us." Kaneko screamed, suddenly launching blue flames that instantly appeared in her hands. Kuroka leaped backwards and avoided Kaneko's sudden senjutsu strike. "Oh, not bad, little sis," Kuroka teased, springing Kaneko into action. "I'm just getting started," Kaneko said as she leaped high into the air with her Nekomata enhancement power. "Take this," Kaneko said as she came down on her opponent with an axe kick strike. Kuroka quickly blocked the attack but was not aware of Kaneko's next sneaky follow-up. Kaneko dropped to the ground and rammed her shoulder into the unsuspecting girl's stomach. "You certainly are stronger than me in a close-quarters brawl, Shirin, but big sister is better at using senjutsu and yujutsu," Kuroka said as she now used the same strategy in her fight against Issei. Kaneko learned from her mistakes and put all of her faith in her Nekomata powers and sensed for Kuroka's hidden figure. Kaneko was hit by countless waves of senjutsu flames in an attempt to throw her concentration off. However, Kuroka was not aware of how much damage Kaneko could take as the rook of the Gremory household. "You're there," Kaneko said after she sensed the strong and menacing aura of the hidden Cow's Brigade fighter who stood behind her. Kuroka groaned in pain after the thunderous punch successfully connected with her gut. Instantly after, Kuroka was staring up towards the sky after she was sent sky high by Kaneko's combo finishing uppercut strike. "So it's going to be that kind of fight, is it? Very well then, you leave me no choice, Shirin." "Tauki," Kuroka said as her whole body was enveloped with this powerful performance enhancer. Kaneko was blown away by the terrifying force of Kuroka's deadly counter. The punch ruined her school top, but if it wasn't for Kaneko's tough guard she put up at the last minute, it was obvious that Kaneko would be in the same situation as Issei right now. Kaneko once again remembered Issei's words. Wait for them to strike and then counter. The white cat leaped and ensnared Kuroka's arm with her tight arm lock with her legs crushing the support of it. It's not going to work. Kuroka yelled as she effortlessly lifted Kaneko off the ground and then slammed her back down onto it with great force. Just as Kuroka was about to do the same to get Kaneko off, Kaneko once she was lifted again, released her grip and vaulted over Kuroka. Planting her foot into her back with a colossal kick. Kuroka once again took the damage from Kaneko's attack. However, thanks to the perks of her opponent's Taki, it wasn't too long until the black cat was on the attack again. It was an all-out brawl between the siblings now. Each using their power to the best of their abilities. Kaneko was now able to predict the timing of Kuroka's Senjutsu flame attacks, and as a result, she was able to use her super strength to extinguish them before they could cause her any harm. Amazing. Absolutely amazing, Shirin. You're using that power so well now. This is getting exciting. Kuroka said, showing her obvious joy for this fight between the sisters. Be quiet. I will not let you win, big sister. Kaneko said, determined to come out of this fight a winner so she could return back with everyone. Calm down, little sis, I've had a change of heart. What are you saying? I'm saying that if you come with me now, I will happily restore your beloved Security's balance to his Kai and save his life. Kuroka said, which with reasons beyond her understanding, angered Kaneko further. No. Definitely no. I don't want you to touch Issei-senpai in that way, big sister. Kaneko yelled, now engaging in combat with her sibling again. Kaneko showed the appearance of a ferocious cat now as it protected their ideal mate. The Rook of the Grimoires dashed towards her opponent, dealing out punch after punch in explosive combinations. Kuroka kept her Taki active as she dodged strikes from her little sister. To whom now had the eyes of a ferocious tiger as she protected her most precious loved one. Kaneko unlocked a new power, summoning several flames at once. Launching them at her sister, who did not expect this sudden attack. Kuroka instantly shifted from defense to offense and began her counterattack against Kaneko. Kaneko, now used to her heightened senses, blocked and evaded strike after strike. Are you sure you can afford to be so stubborn, Shirin? Kuroka asked, showing no changes in Kaneko's movements. I mean, if you don't accept my kind offer, or even if you decide to save him yourself, there is one thing you fail to realize. If you fail in both of these options, the Red Dragon Emperor will die. Kuroka said, making the words themselves sting the hearts of Kaneko and the Crimson Princess, who still held his almost lifeless body close to her. Shut up. Kaneko screamed as she continued her anger-fueled assault. Kuroka used this opportunity of Kaneko's unease and delivered a critical hit to the scared catgirl when she suddenly dropped her guard. Hit head-on by Kuroka's fully powered Taki punch, Kaneko suffered intense pain as her light body shot through the air and crashed with a painful thud not too far from Issei and Ria's. I'm not giving up. Kaneko said as she stood herself up and wiped the blood away from her mouth. Shirin, give up. You can't beat me with the powers you currently possess. If you continue to fight against me, you're going to die just like Haidu Issei. Kuroka said, making Ria's hurt again. I refuse to surrender. Not after how far I have come. Kaneko said as she once again stood her ground and positioned herself in a fighting stance. It can't be helped. I will make you lose consciousness and then I will heal you once we return home. Kuroka said as she too prepared to finish this battle. Kaneko and Kuroka began to charge towards each other in what would be a blood-stained fist brawl. However, both Nekomatas ceased their charge and skidded to a halt just as they were about to collide. I will not let you die. Ria's mumbled. All of a sudden, a huge and suffocating explosion of demonic aura awakened from the ruined princess surrounding her and Issei in a tainted crimson light. President Ria's. Kaneko said as she shivered from the immense power and the malice that hid inside it. Kuroka, how dare you? To my Issei. Ria said as the trees began to disintegrate just being within her reach. This is bad, I have to take her out now. Kuroka said, suddenly being grabbed by Biku on his fleeing cloud. What are you doing, Biku? Let go of me. Have you noticed yet? Loki's awakened, but how? Vali wants us to head back so we can discuss where to go from here. Biku said as they both escaped from that painful aura. Shirin, I will leave for now. But you will realize one day that you can't be protected by anyone else but me. Kuroka thought to herself as she and Biku escaped from certain death. Meanwhile, Ria's Grimoire's power of destruction was beginning to spiral out of control. President Ria's, please calm down. They are gone now. Kaneko desperately cried out. Calm down. How could I? Look what they did to Issei. I won't forgive them. Ria screamed, destroying more of her surroundings. Kaneko realized the best thing to do would be to get Issei away from Ria's so she could begin with the treatment. The problem was the suffocating aura that Ria's had shrouding around herself and him. This is bad, I need to get the others. Kaneko said as she proceeded to flee back to the meeting room. Don't make a face like that, Ria's, I've not kicked the bucket just yet. A voice said, making Ria's instantly calm down. Issei was all Rias could say as the Red Dragon Emperor regained consciousness. I'm sorry to worry you like that, Rias. But I think I'm going to be okay. Issei said, smiling afterwards, hoping this would help soothe Ria's heart. Issei. Rias shouted out as her arms wrapped around him. Thank you so much for not leaving me, Rias said as her tears began to stain his shirt. Of course I wouldn't. I promised to never leave your side, Rias. Issei said, making Rias break down completely. Kaneko broke up the loving atmosphere with some bad news. He's not out of danger yet. What do you mean, Kaneko? Rias said, showing despair on her face. It's just like my big sister said, she altered his life force. So unless it's reverted back to normal with Senjutsu, he will die in 24 hours. Kaneko said, making Rias panic. No way. Don't worry, Rias, everything is going to be fine. Issei said, once again calming the poor girl down. What do you mean, Issei? Rias said, showing obvious confusion. Well, Kaneko-chan can help me after all. Right, Kaneko-chan? Issei said, now looking at the surprised Rook. But Issei-senpai, I'm not sure I can do it. Kaneko said with a sad look. Issei suddenly moved towards the scared junior and patted her head. I believe in you, Kaneko-chan, please heal me. Issei said with a smile, lifting up Kaneko's spirits. Of course, Issei-senpai. I promise to turn you back to normal. Kaneko said, making Issei smile. Thank you, Kaneko-chan, Issei said, once again patting her head. After all, Issei-senpai is an important person to me as well, Kaneko mumbled, forgetting Issei's heightened hearing. Issei pretended he didn't hear her and just smiled. Well then, President Rias, I will be borrowing Issei-senpai for a while. Kaneko said, suddenly taking his hand and walking off. What are you talking about, Kaneko? I haven't spent any time with Issei alone since we got here. Rias said, her cute jealous side awakening. Kaneko grinned and raced back inside, finding an unoccupied bedroom and shutting the doors behind them. Well then, Issei-senpai, please lie down on the bed. Kaneko said, removing her ruined top. Okay. I'll leave everything to you, Kaneko-chan. Issei said as he lay on his back. Okay, I'm going to begin treating you now. Kaneko said as she shyly lay down on top of Issei's toned chest and began to emit a refreshing blue light. Kaneko blushed as she pressed herself against Issei's torso and heard the sound of his heartbeat pounding against her eardrum. How's it, Issei-senpai? Kaneko asked nervously. Yeah. It feels nice. I can feel your power purifying the wrongs Kuroka did to my life force. Issei said as Kaneko fluster-struck carried on with the procedure. I see, that's good. Kaneko said as she relaxed on top of him. Issei-senpai. Kaneko said with a quiet and shy voice. What is it, Kaneko-chan? Issei replied. Are you afraid of me? My new power, is it scary? Of course not, Kaneko-chan, how could I ever be scared of my cute cowhide? Issei said as she patted her on the head. But what if my power goes out of control and I end up like my big sister? I won't let that happen to you, Kaneko-chan. If push comes to shove, I will definitely step in and stop you going down the wrong path. Issei-senpai, we'll work together and stop that from happening, Kaneko-chan. Issei said, finally putting Kaneko's mind at ease. There is a more efficient way within Senjutsu to increase its healing properties. Would you like to hear what that is? Kaneko asked, awaiting Issei's reply. Yes, of course, I'm always interested to learn more about Senjutsu. Issei said, giving Kaneko the clear okay. Okay. Well, here goes. The most efficient way to utilize Senjutsu's healing properties is the bedroom thing. What do you mean? You know sex, Kaneko said with a shy tone. Oh, I see. Issei replied, clearly showing his shock and surprise. You don't want that? Kaneko asked with a curious-looking stare. Before Issei could answer, the doors to the room suddenly burst open, revealing a very angry and jealous ruined princess who could no longer hold herself back after what Kaneko just said. That's enough of that, Kaneko. Issei is my Issei. Ria said, suddenly clinging to Issei's arm on the other side of the bed. Then I will take this place from now on as my own. Kaneko said as she curled up into a ball on Issei's lap. Hey Kaneko, what do you think you are doing? Kaneko? Ria yelled, revealing to everyone else in the building the crisis was over. Chapter 36. Get ready for the Kuo Academy Sports Festival. He's my Issei. Ria's Gremory gazed out of the Gremory Express's train window, taking one last look at the amethyst-shaded sky as the vehicle whisked away from what was left of the Ria's grand homeland. Ria's knew full well that as she took one last glimpse of her territory, it would not be long until they returned once again. However, whether this would be for reasons of joy or misfortune had not yet become certain. Ria shook her head to discard her thoughts of negativity towards what the future may have in store for her and her peerage. After all, the red-haired teen had so much happiness to reflect on for the past couple of months. Kiba took up his sword again, and his resolution is clear and sharp. Hanako has conquered her fear of her power and is beginning to move forward. Everybody in the peerage had now recovered and they're stronger than ever. It was at that moment that Rias realized the cause for all the progress in the Gremories. Issei. Ria's just then remembered another reason to be happy. After all, she was engaged to Issei. The Grimoire's king was suddenly forced out of her daydream when a noise disrupted her peaceful mind. Naya, there it was again. And this time, Ria's found the source of it. Kaneko. Just what do you think you're doing? Ria's inquired with a flushed face and an irritated tone. Ria's. Issei said, suddenly realizing what Kaneko was doing. Kaneko rubbed her eyes and looked straight up at the president. This place is where I find the most peace, Naya. Kaneko said, making Ria's pout. No. Definitely not. Issei is mine and mine alone. Ria's replied, showing her human teenage girl side of jealously. Kaneko, no fair. Asia said, almost tearing up. Kaneko, don't you think you're being a bit disobedient to your master? Ria said with a menacing glare. Her destructive powers beginning to surface. Issei senpai makes me feel safe and calm. So I won't give this spot away to anyone else. Kaneko replied back, seriously, making Ria's pout. To think that even Kaneko-chan has opened her heart to Issei. Ria's, you need to learn to share Issei-kun with all of us. Okeno said with a teasing grin. But Ria said, feeling she had been defeated by both her queen and rook. Issei decided to not move Kaneko and patted her head. It looks like we're going to be busy when we get back to school tomorrow though. Issei said, changing the subject to diffuse the tension and unease in the room. Oh, that's right, our school is having training sessions for the sports festival in a week's time, right? Asia replied, sensing Issei's desire to drop the previous topic. Yes, Urziches looked especially excited with his camera in hand. Issei said, followed by a light chuckle. Geez, big brother always acts like that when there is an event going on at school. Ria said with a sigh afterwards. I know what you mean, he has always been like that for as long as I have known him. He was always bragging how he was going to be filming Urias. Speaking of that, how did he hold out the urge to call out to you as well, Issei? After all, you have known each other for 6 years, right? Rias replied with a smile. Yeah, he always sulked afterwards that he couldn't get my attention. But that's just how determined he was to keep my identity secret from you. Issei said with a grin whilst he scratched his hair. Rias blushed and then started to reminisce about her first meeting with Issei. And upon reflection, it amazed her how close Issei has been to her all this time. On that topic, which events are you taking part in again, Issei-kun? Okeno asked Issei, who still had Kaneko sound asleep on his lap. Haha, well, I get nominated for a bunch of stuff by my class all the time because I do very well in sports. But last time I checked, I think I'm participating in the borrowing race, the 1500 meters, the co-ed relay and the three-legged race. Issei said, making Asia blush. Ah, with Asia correct. Okeno said, making Asia frown. Issei-sen would be better off with somebody else. I'm probably going to hold him back and fall over all the time. Asia said, showing clearly her lack of confidence. Nonsense, Asia, I feel reassured knowing that you're my partner for the race. I have complete faith that the two of us will definitely make first place. So smile, okay? You can do anything you set your mind to, Asia. Issei said, making Asia smile. Thank you, Issei-san. I will try my best. Asia said with a sudden rush of confidence. The same goes for you, Issei. Don't disappoint me out there. Ria said, making Issei respond with a smile. Of course I won't, Rias. After all, now I have someone I don't want to let down. Issei replied, making Rias blush and smile. And so a week passed for the Grimoires, who spent their time practicing for the upcoming event at Kuo Academy. And now the Grimoires walk through the school gates and go to their corners ready to compete for their classrooms and their individual pride. Well then, Kiba, I'll see you out on the field. Issei said, making Kiba look seriously at him. Issei-kun, even though you are a treasured friend of mine, I also see you as my rival. So please don't go easy on me, and I promise as a man to do the same. Kiba said, extending his hand out to Issei. Issei smiled and shook Kiba's hand. Of course, Kiba. I wouldn't have it any other way. Issei replied as they both went to their own classrooms to get changed. Meanwhile, an interesting plan was being scheduled at this very moment by the third-year girls. Hey, do you girls want to go see something wonderful? A third-year girl said, attracting the attention of various other girls. What is it, Anne? A brunette girl said, eager to hear what she was talking about. Isn't it obvious? I'm sure the thought has crossed all of our minds at some point. I'm talking about taking a sneak peek at Haidu while he prepares for the festival. The girl whose name was revealed as Anne stated. Kai. Anne-san is so bold. One student said, clearly on board with this crafty suggestion. I want to see. Another girl said, who began to follow Anne out the door along with other spectators. Oh my, whatever will you do, Rias? So many girls are going to stare at your fiancé. Okeno said, enjoying teasing Rias more than anything. Isn't that obvious? Let's go, Okeno. Ria said as she clearly stomped out of the room. It was just as Rias and Okeno feared, tons of eyes began to stare through the cracks of the slightly open doorway to Issei's classroom to see. Look. Haidu-san is taking his top off. One girl said on the brink of a nosebleed once Issei's abdominal muscles began to show on full display. Kaya. Let me see. Let me see. Said another as she forced her way in front. Issei-kun appears to have multiple admirers. Okeno said calmly until she noticed the expression on her king's face. To my Issei they keep staring at my Issei unforgivable. Unforgivable, Riaz said under her breath as she tried her best not to lose her composure at school. Riaz came over as well. Here Riaz, do you want to take a peek as well? Ayan said unaware of Issei and Riaz's true secret bond. However, this suggestion calmed Riaz down and she happily jumped at the chance to stare at her handsome servant. Riaz didn't say a word now as she dedicated all of her concentration and focus on Issei as he stripped his attire piece by piece. Before Riaz noticed, she found herself being drawn in by the brown-haired teen. Close enough that Issei managed to catch a glimpse of her. Issei identified Riaz instantly and happily sent a wink and his brightest smile her way. Riaz began to match her shade of her as her face began to redden from Issei's sneaky counter-strike. All of the girls happily retreated feeling that the gesture Issei just showed was for them personally. It was at moments like this that Riaz was so glad that Issei was hers and hers alone. However, it's after incidences like what had happened just now that Riaz wants to come clean about her connection to him as his girl. As his fiancé. Nevertheless, Riaz always holds herself back from doing so, even though she wants to shout out to the skies above. This is because Riaz truly cares for Issei and believes this action would be enough to keep Issei safe and harassment-free. With that, Riaz turned back and prayed for her treasured pawn's triumph as she looked forward to seeing once again how cool and outstanding her servant truly is. Chapter 37 Go for the Gold Kuo Academy. Fireworks soared into the air and exploded throughout the atmosphere, marking the clear signal that the festival had in fact begun. Welcome all contestants and spectators once again to Kuo Academy's spectacular sports festival. I am your commentator Kiryu Aika. If you're just tuning in, the first year and second year boys are now approaching the starting line for the 1500 meters race. Kiryu said as the racers began to take their starting positions. The most exciting of the students and those who are also predicted to win are known as the two princes of this school. Representing Class 2B we have Kibayudo. And from Class 2C we have Issei Haidu. Issei-kun, remember what I said before. I'm going for the win today. Kiba said as he began to get into his starting position. Bring it on. Let's show the world the strength of the men who serve Riaz Gremory. Issei replied responding to the announcer and getting into his own starting position. On your marks. Get set. Go. And with that, the gun signal sounded and the racers took off like bullets fired from the barrel. And they're off. They're fast. As expected, the two leaders of this event are Kibayudo and Issei Haidu. Kiryu said as she now got into the spirit of commentating. It seems these two are neck and neck. And oh. They don't seem to be slowing down despite the sharp turn coming up ahead. But it seems this turn had no effect on either of the pair's speed and focus. Issei and Kiba ran shoulder to shoulder as if they were conjoined twins or even contestants in the three-legged race. Sorry Issei-kun, but I'll be going ahead now. Kiba said as he suddenly picked up speed and passed Issei like a howling wind. Oh. And it seems Kiba has broken the cycle and has pushed onwards towards the finish line. Kiryu said as Kiba sped to the halfway point of the track. Issei grinned and then decided to dip into his reserves he had stockpiled inside. I won't lose Kiba. Issei said to his comrade. Tapping him on the back as he passed him. It's not over yet Issei-kun. Kiba said as he began to pick up the pace as well. However, something was wrong here. No matter how fast Kiba tried to run, his feet showed no sign of closing the distance between him and Issei. As Kiba's speed increased, Issei managed to still hold a strong lead. Damn it. Is this not enough? Kiba thought to himself as he saw Issei close in on the finishing line. And it's over. It was a close shave, but it seems that our winner for the 1500 meters is Issei Haidu. Followed by Kibayudo in second place. Oh, and here comes the rest of the contestants, Kiryu said as the other participants approached the finishing line about 3 minutes later. I will obtain all of the top ranks for my president. Issei said causing a huge scream to originate from a huge crowd that had begun to form by the racing track. A group of girls in matching clothes cheered with all of their might. Their pom-poms shaking vigorously in the air. This group of girls made Issei's popularity very evident to the public as they all wore red t-shirts with words such as, Issei Haidu is the best. Issei Haidu Class 2C and Go Issei. Kaya. Who is that racer? One girl said deciding to join the huge crowd that supported the gold medalist. You don't know him. He's Issei Haidu-kun. A second year said in response to the newbie's question. Wow. I want to drag him into Class 2D. Another girl said as she screamed at the top of her lungs. Hey, is it true he doesn't have a girlfriend? Of course not. Haidu-kun is a mystery. And nobody has been able to unravel him. Anne said as Issei walked over to the runner-up. Ria's tolerance for these girls gawking at her future husband had finally hit its peak. So Ria's marched towards the crowd and decided to show them how it's done. As she created her own cheerleading uniform with her magic. The crafty third year put herself on display at the front. Declaring herself to the rest of them that she was the center of Issei's world. "Are you alright, Kiba?" Issei said, offering a hand out to his friend as he sat on the floor. "Yes, thank you, Issei-kun. It's my complete defeat, you're really horrible, you know that. Speed is supposed to be my specialty." Kiba said, taking Issei's hand to get up. "Well, I guess I did get a bit carried away. But it was only because you suddenly passed me like that, Kiba. It really surprised me. Well, it seems I have more training to do then. I won't lose next time, Issei-kun." Kiba said, extending his hand out to Issei. "I'm not going to hold back next time either." Issei said as he accepted Kiba's handshake. "Next up we have the borrowing race. Racers, take your places," Kiryu announced, causing Issei to report to his next event. "Yo Haidu, I guess it's time for us to settle this once and for all, which of us is the greatest pawn?" Saji said, now standing next to the pawn of the Gremory household. "Sure thing, but I don't intend on losing to you. After all, my president is giving it her all to cheer me on," Issei said with a smile as he gazed at his energetic fiancée, who began to cheer for him with all of her heart. "Issei, don't even think about losing. Do your president proud," Ria said. "Well, be that as it may, I also can't afford to lose here, Haidu. I mean, I want to look cool to a certain someone as well," Saji said as he now gazed over towards Sona Citri, the student council president. "On your marks, get set. Go," the referee said, causing the pawn of the Citri house and Gremory house to shoot off. Wow, what a start. Saji of the student council team and Issei Haidu have shot off from the starting point, leaving the others in the dust. Kiryu said, making Matsumoto irritated to be losing from the very start. "Oh, and seems that the two leaders have reached their envelopes. Now what will the item be that they have to find to cross the finishing line?" Kiryu announced as both Issei and Saji tore open their envelopes. "I can't afford to waste time, Saji is a formidable opponent, so I have to quickly check and then take off," Issei thought to himself as he pulled out the white paper. Suddenly, Issei's eyes shot wide open and a smile printed across his face. "Hey, look. Doesn't it look like Haidu is coming this way?" one of the cheerleaders said as he ran towards them. "Hey, you're right," another said, showing the excitement on her face as he rapidly approached the crowd. "Will you please come with me?" Issei said to that one lucky girl he offered his hand out to. "Amy? You need me to cross the finishing line?" the fortunate and excited girl said, spreading jealously amongst the other girls. "Of course, please come with me," Issei said, picking her up in a princess carry instantly after. "Hey. Hold on tight, Rias," Issei said with a smile, causing the surprised third year to blush as she relaxed her arms around his neck. Issei took off like a rocket, Rias laughing in his arms as they approached the finish line at a fast pace. "I'm not finished yet, Haidu," Saji said as he began to catch up with Issei, a pair of glasses held in his hand. "Time for me to show you how much effort I put in when my president is watching me personally," Issei said as he once again astounded another one of his rivals with his superior effort and abilities. "Looks like I, just like Kiba, have more training to do," Saji said as he was powerless to advance further than Issei. And once again, Issei Haidu wins the gold. Followed by Saji of the student council and Matsumoto of class 2C. Kiryu announced as the race came to an end. "Sorry for picking you up like that so suddenly, Rias," Issei said with a blush on his face after he just realized how bold he acted in front of everyone else. "It's okay, Issei, after all, it is my job as your master to support you. By the way, what was it you had to borrow to win the race?" Rias asked, curious too as how she was so lucky to be picked. "See for yourself," Issei said, handing her the paper. "No way," Rias said as she realized how special and lucky she was. Rias read the words clearly on the piece of paper which read, "Cheerleader." It just occurred to Rias how special she must be for Issei to choose her out of every other girl there, when this act alone could have made their relationship discovered. When he had other alternatives to choose from in order to avoid this from happening. She also realized how lucky she was and how her jealousy somehow managed to help her for a change. Because in fact, if Rias decided to ignore Issei's fan club of cheerleaders and decided to not become a cheerleader herself, she would have had to witness Issei carry another girl across that finishing line. Rias blushed and felt like she wanted to embrace Issei there and then. To thank her lucky stars that she met Issei and for her brother who resurrected him as a devil. But she held back the urge. Telling herself she would show Issei her gratitude in a more secluded and private area. So she did all she could do at this point. "You did great. Congratulations," Rias said, making a certain individual carrying a bucket of water behind them very frustrated. "Why is it always Issei?" the individual thought to themselves as they walked towards him. Matsumoto was so steamed that it would not be surprising if the bucket of water he collected for the borrowing race were to start to boil in his hands. A mischievous grin appeared on his face as he emptied the contents of the bucket, aiming it towards Ria's now as she had changed back into her white PE t-shirt. President Ria's. Issei shouted as he managed to defend Ria's uniform from becoming see-through, much to Matsumoto's disappointment and to the overwhelming delight of the girls of the Issei Haidu fan club. Wow. Look, that idiotic pervert Matsumoto did something right for a change. Kai, look at those muscles. Another girl said, seeing Issei's muscular form previously concealed under his t-shirt. Ah, I want him right now. One girl said, and it was indeed a tough task for Ria's Gremory to stop herself from saying right now that they couldn't have him. Kai. Issei-sama. Have my babies. Another girl said, which suddenly irritated the sapphire-haired knight of the Gremory household as well as Ria's this time. But Ria's calmed herself down and instead offered him a towel for the one she cared for the most. Whilst most girls of the Gremory household remained focused on the festival and Issei, one poor girl was worrying herself to death as her participation in this important competition was only moments around the corner. Geez, it comes in handy to know magic sometimes. Oh hey Asia. Issei said as he snuck round the corner to dry himself off. What's wrong? Are you feeling nervous? Issei said, now sitting down next to her as she pressed her back against the wall. Yeah, a little bit I guess. Asia replied weakly, trying to not make eye contact. There is nothing to be worried about, Asia. Just do the same as we did at practice, Issei said, but to no avail as the blonde-haired girl still showed no confidence. I'm worried that I will let you down at the most critical point. I'm not good at sports and I'm always being helped by others. Maybe it would be best if I forfeit. Better to quit than to have everyone see you lose, Issei-san. Asia yelled. However, she was not expecting to be in Issei's arms after she finished shouting. Issei-san. Asia said as she suddenly calmed down. Have you calmed down now? Issei asked, and in response to his question she weakly nodded. Issei let her go and then placed his arms on Asia's shoulders, looking directly into her eyes. Asia, look at me. You have worked just as hard as anyone ever since you became a part of the Gremories. Not only did you not hate me after finding out who I am, you asked Rias to make you her servant so you could help me when I need you the most. And so what if we lose? That doesn't matter one bit to me. There will be times where we won't win. All we have to do is dust ourselves off and then become stronger. Issei-san, you're an incredible person to me and one of the people I treasure the most. It makes me happy to have such a dependable person having my back for me. So let's go, Asia. Stay by my side and help me achieve the impossible. Issei said, extending out his hand out to her. Issei-san. Asia said, doing the unexpected. Asia threw her shaking arms around Issei's neck and collided her lips into his as if they were being pulled in by a strong magnetic force. I won't lose to the president or anyone else. Asia said after she let go of him. Asia. Racers for the three-legged race. Report to the starting line now. Kiryu announced as if she were playing the role as Asia's wingman to break the awkward atmosphere. Asia, with a huge adrenaline rushing through her, offered out her hand to Issei and was ready to win this. Let's go, Issei-san. That's us. Asia said with a huge smile. Issei smiled and took her hand to get to his feet and then made his way with her to the event. Asia was now feeling on cloud nine as she matched Issei's movements perfectly, as if they were her own limbs she were in sync with. The former sister of the church felt as if she was walking on air as she and Issei effortlessly crossed the finishing line, making the others in comparison seem like the worst matchups. Just one more to go. Issei said as he breathed a sigh of relief and made his preparations for the final event. The mixed gender relay. Issei put on his jersey and tightened his red headband as he got in his position as the last runner. The order for the relay went like this: Asia, Motohama, Zenovia and finally Issei. Get back. Get back. It's not safe to be so close to the track, get back. The teacher said to the crowd of Issei fans, which continued to grow in size. The race took off at the sound of the gun. And Asia was still showing signs of unnerving confidence. Motohama-san. Asia yelled as she passed the baton to the second of the perverted duo. Leave it to me, Asia-chan. Motohama replied with a huge blush on his face. Zenovia-chan, here Yuji, Motohama said as he clumsily dropped the baton at her feet and grazed her bottom. You idiot. What do you think you're doing? Zenovia said as she bent down to pick up the discarded item. All of a sudden, a second-year girl from class 2 pushed her from behind the minute she received her own baton. Oops, sorry friend. The girl said as Zenovia tasted the dirt of the ground. Ah, what a failure. One girl said to the girl who currently lay on the ground. How could she let down Issei-sama? Another evil spite sounded out. And just when it was almost Haidu's turn to win yet another gold for class 2C. What a klutz. Another girl said, undermining Zenovia's confidence. With her uniform covered in dirt and wrinkled, Zenovia ran with tears of frustration appearing upon her face as she hopelessly fell behind the others. Damn it. I'm a disgrace. How could I be so careless? I told Issei that he could count on me. And now, his amazing streak he worked so hard to get will be tainted by my stupid actions. Zenobia thought to herself as the final runners for the other class already took off. However, Zenobia saw something that she at this point did not expect. Issei wasn't showing a face of shame or disappointment, in fact it was the complete opposite. Issei was smiling directly at her with his hand out ready. Zenobia shook away her pessimism and successfully handed the baton to Issei. And just before he took off, Issei whispered this in her ear. You did great, now leave the rest to me Zenobia. Issei said as he took off with incredible speed. It looks like Class 2 is going to win this event. Wait, hang on. Is that? It is. Issei Haidu has achieved the impossible and caught up with the leader even after his team's accident. No wait, fantastic. He has passed Class 2A's leader Kiryu said, unable to contain her excitement. Oh wait, Class 2 is up to something a sweep. Class 2 is playing dirty and is trying to do the same as they did to Class 2C's Zenobia and are trying to trip Issei just as he caught up. Hang on. The plan has failed. Class 2C is the winner. Just as the male runner of Class 2 stuck out their foot, Issei vaulted over the hurdle and won by a nose hair. Kiryu said making the crowd go wild for the victors of the festival. Class 2C had won by a landslide victory and had earned first place and the gold trophy to mark their glorious triumph. Back at the Haidu household. After a draining day of school, it was no surprise that everybody just wanted to eat and then hit the hair right afterwards. Issei lay in bed with Rias by his side and relaxed his mind into a deep sleep. Issei opened his eyes again. But he did not see his room or Rias in fact, he saw nothing but a white void. Issei recognized that he was not in the sacred gear. As normally, there would be a table with the previous Akirites in here also. No, this was definitely different. Suddenly, a voice sounded in the background. No, please. Please don't hurt my family. A voice said making Issei spin around in a panic. Whine all you want you pathetic human. And say hello to God for me. An evil voice said making the dull and white void darken with colors of black and red. Issei stood in a puddle of red liquid and viewed his reflection. He was 11 years old again. And this was his worst memory. Issei yelled begging the maniacal woman to stop as he saw once again his parents' murder. Then came his turn. If you want to blame anyone for this, blame God for what he gave to you. And with that, it all went black and Issei had been killed yet again. Normally at this point, Issei would wake up and the nightmare would be over. However, this time, he seemed to hear a second act. Dear, where is he? We've looked everywhere. A panicked woman's voice said which sounded very familiar. Calm down honey, we will find him. After all this is a big place. A gentle man said trying to calm the frantic female. But we've looked for years dear. You don't think that he was sent? Don't say that. Don't even think it. He was a good boy and he is our son. Don't give up hope. We will find him. A voice said suddenly pulling Issei out of his sleep. Issei sat up from his bed and his heart was racing at 100 miles per hour. The frightened red dragon emperor was coated in river sweat which covered his entire body. Issei breathed heavily and his lungs began to go out of control as he struggled to pull himself together. Suddenly, a warm source of heat and a soothing spirit embraced him. Almost instantly calming down his quickly beating heart. Issei turned to his back and saw her embracing him from behind. Rias. Issei, what's wrong? Rias asked curiously knowing full well that Issei had not in the slightest had a nice rest. This is the end of the video. If you enjoyed the story, then hit the like button and comment your favorite part, but for now see you all in the next video.